Content warning. The following show contains tobacco use, discussions of fictitious violence, and some things that might make some people feel uncomfortable. We promise it is not our intention to make you feel singled out, condemned, or judged. In fact, we want you to know that we see you and we'd like to hear from you. But with all that, viewer discretion is advised. Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to the dark side of the room. I am Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, and thank you guys so much for showing up. You know, the music is something I'm actually looking to change eventually, but I gotta find my old stuff, which means I need access to my old hard drive and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, we're checking out all of those things. But in the meantime, in between time, meantime, between time, welcome to the dark side of the room. Now, this is the show where we talk about games and life and community and being friends and all that other stuff. So, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope I look okay. And of course, gotta say hey to one of our prime deckers, Xanathades. That's right, Xanathades. I only know how to pronounce that properly because I've read Xanadu. It's one of those things. And of course, we're here to talk about so many things. However, before we get started with the things that we want to talk about, I want to know that you guys can have a little music so that you guys can email me at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK @gmail.com. You can also reach out to me at a lot of different places like Deckers on the Book, our Discord site. Hopefully one of our people will pull up the Discord, which would be kind of cool because I forgot to do that type of thing. And of course, oh man, yeah, this is fun because it's like, yeah, opening up Discord right now, and I forgot to open Discord because, well, I kind of suck. So with all that being said, again, thank you guys for being here, and let me make sure we're on my server. I'm still learning how all this stuff works. So cool. I'm just gonna do all that. And yeah, so yeah, did we do all that? And oh wait, I didn't do all of that the way that I should have done all that, so I'm just gonna go boo. All right, and of course guys, before we get really going with the show, I figure I'm going to set a couple of things out, like our sponsor for this video this week or today, which is you guys. That's right. You guys are our sponsors. And what do I mean by that? Well, what you guys can do. No, I'm not going to do Nitro, but thank you. So many things are just like, you want to do that? Pay so much money. Well, it's very simple. We've got a few ways that you guys can help support the channel. The easiest way for you to help support the channel is to subscribe here on Twitch. With, of course, your Amazon gaming subscription. Why the Amazon one? Because it's free, y'all. It doesn't cost anything, but honestly, it really helps us out over here. The second way that you guys can help us out is to go to our Patreon at patreon.com/BID_P. Let me pull that up. Patreon.com/BID_P. Hey, look at that. And with that particular thing, oh, look at that. You can be a decker. There we go. That's one of the things that we can do there. Let me just, put that down. And $5 a month, $1 a month, $10 a month. We have a lot of different tiers for people in whatever way they can afford. And of course, I've got some direct donation links if you guys don't want to deal with like a monthly thing. And I'm also putting all that stuff in the chats. Also, we've got one other thing, which we're putting up there. Boom. That's right. Look at all of those ways that you guys help do the channel. And I got to give a major shout out. Okay. And I mean this, like a major shout out to our folks over at Guildhouse Games and LA War Games and Lil Tokyo and Bellflower. Or Lil Tokyo, hang on. V. Enter. Huh. That's interesting. I'm not being able to, yeah, there we go. Enter. Huh. For some reason, my YouTube isn't letting me put comments up here. Learn more. I don't want to learn more. Well, that's interesting. Let me just put this here and go, huh? Hello. Ah, I think I understand what it's for. And of course, we have a GoFundMe that we are working on right now. It's called Flat Pack Realms, and I'll be playing the video and all that stuff a little bit later. So those are the ways that you can help us keep our lights on. All right, and I'm dead serious. That's really what all that stuff is for. So without any further ado, since we're gonna be here for a little while, I got the coffee brewing. I got my comfortable chair, and I want to say hi to the people who are here watching the stream. All right. Thank you guys so much. I know I've been really inconsistent with my streaming, and it has been rough. It has been rough because quite honestly, I've been working so many day jobs. All right, so many day jobs, so much. Not getting paid for all of them, but working a whole bunch of them. So that has been a real thing, and stuff has been kind of difficult. Now this is fascinating. Let me see if I can adjust, because I'm looking real bright right now. Yeah, I'm looking real bright, and I want to look a little bit better. I think, yeah, I like this a little bit better. I was like, oh my God, I'm so washed out. I didn't like all that. So, yeah, so that is one of the big things that is going on right now as we speak. A hello. So, let's get into our topics for today because I got a lot. I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Now, first off, I want to address tournament culture and how it grows organically. Now, I got to give a major shout out to Turn Zero Games in, well, we know it as Koreatown in Los Angeles, but it's in Los Angeles at 3959 Wilshire Boulevard. I was there. Yeah, go ahead, look it up. It's a really decent store, decent amount of tabletop gaming stuff, heavy into Warhammer, got some stuff with Crisis Protocol, got some stuff with Star Wars Shatterpoint, lots of Magic the Gathering because it's in a major city and Magic the Gathering keeps stores open. So, I was having a talk with the manager, and he put me onto a couple of things. Okay, he put me onto a couple of things and a couple of perspectives that I haven't actually considered because of the difference in nature. Now, let us do a little bit of a recap, as it were. I've spoken on this show many times in the past about how I classify things a little strangely, okay? And one of the ways that I classify a lot of things is, well, how can I put this? Anyone who actually has known me outside of the regular world knows that I am not a very competitive game player. Never have been, Not really my thing. Um, yeah, just competitive gaming never been my thing. I wanted it to be my thing for a little while because I was a tournament judge, and someone told me that in order to be a tournament judge, I have to understand um I have to understand what it's like to be a competitive player. And they weren't exactly incorrect in this thinking. Okay, they really weren't. Um However, one of the things that I learned is that I'm not a very competitive person. Quite honestly, um, one of the things I've learned, um, hang on, one of the things I've learned is as um as a former fat kid, and yeah, that's literally me going on right now. Um, as a former fat kid, um, I spent a long time trying to be welcomed in places. Okay, and that's a really hard thing for me. I've joined a couple of communities lately, and they're like, "No, dude, you're in. Like, we like you. Be around us." I'm like, this is itchy. I don't know how it feels. I'm not used to this. Arr! You know, uh, and honestly, like that's a real thing, and I'm being totally, totally straight with you guys right now. I'm just like, I don't know how to do that. So essentially, where that comes from is when I was growing up, a lot of a lot of people around had the preconceived notion that I didn't know what I was doing, I was too weird, I wasn't welcomed. I had to earn my way into being allowed to have presence with other people, okay? And what a lot of folks around me didn't know but found out and all that stuff is how can I put this? I was a very quick study. I still am in a lot of ways concerning a lot of things, okay? I yeah, I literally learn very quickly, and the faster I learn, the more it seemed to upset people. But the concept of wanting to win very badly was never really on my docket because I was just happy to be allowed to play. Okay. Um, and because I grew up on PBS, so look for the helpers, and you know, having fun in playing games, especially with other people, it's something that I have come to like a whole lot. Okay, it's something that I do, and I'm the guy with the open table. I'm like, hey, come on over to our table, join us. Yes, bigger community, more fun, blah blah blah. I'm not the gatekeeper. you know, Yet I'm kind of a bouncer. It's kind of weird. So, with that being said, when it comes to tournament culture, um, in a lot of ways over the years, I've come to resent it. And since I don't like not liking things, I'm doing what I can to get past it. Now, I had a nice talk with the manager of Turn Zero Games today, and he is a self proclaimed competitive person. And he actually pointed out something to me that I thought was interesting. And I'm like, okay, go on. I'm very interested in hearing this. Which I don't think that he actually believed that I was interested in hearing, but definitely interested because if the entire world shared my perspective, then there'd be no point for me to have a podcast. And if I knew the entire world's perspective and shared it, there would be no need for me to be in as much therapy as I have. So, you can stop. I'm working. I love getting phone calls all day. Would you like to sell your property? No. Where am I going to live if I do? Well, you could buy something somewhere else. Like where? Omaha? you know, Well, I'm like, could I afford somewhere else in Los Angeles? Well, no. Then why are you asking me to uproot my life so you can get a commission? Thank you. Um, so as all of that comes down, yo, who is talking today? I believe that's a Daryl. Let me double check. Hey, Daryl, what's going on, my man? My main YouTube holding it downer. Um, so like I said, I was talking with this manager, and he flat out says he's a competitive person, and he talked to me from the store runner perspective, which is very interesting. And it was when it comes to games. Okay, you have a game like Marvel Crisis Protocol or Flashpoint, um, games that don't require players to write or create things. Okay, so not as much D&D, but definitely D&D as well. But games that hang on a minute, Scraps, stop chewing on that. If only I had a camera pointed at her. She's like, "What?" um, but oh my God, she listened. Okay, must be because you guys are here. Anyway, he's like, well, when you have games like Marvel Crisis Protocol or Halo or Dead Zone or Warhammer 40K, there's only so much about the game itself you can talk about before optimizing becomes all you have left. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that because I mean, I play all the comic book based games like Marvel Crisis Protocol. Um, I also play the DC Universe game. I play the Batman game. I play HeroClix. And we can always talk about the lore, the comics, the novels and stuff. He's like, yeah, but when people talk about that stuff, and he's talking about it from a store owner's point of view or a store runner point of view, people buy X amount of what they want from licensed properties. And once they have the teams they like, they don't buy anything else unless they're going for the tournament route and the competitive route, in which case they try to follow the meta and they end up buying more stuff. And I'm like, okay, that is a very, very important perspective that I tried not to, that I not tried, but I never really thought about. You know what I mean? Um, and when it comes to stuff like that, there is a whole realm. Okay, let's talk about the biggest game on the market from the company that y'all know I'm not in love with. With Warhammer 40K, much like any other miniatures game, you can talk about um, you can talk about the lore. Okay, there are almost 100 novels in the Horus Heresy, which is the prehistory. There's also um, hundreds of novels and standard stuff. When it comes to Marvel Crisis Protocol, there's one or two Marvel stories out there. you know, I mean, forget that there's over 20 movies and that the company has pretty much existed since the 1940s and all that stuff. Daryl brings up a great point. It's because we're satisfied. Yes. Um, when I was playing Marvel Crisis Protocol when it first came out, I'm like, okay, I want the Asgardians, I want the Wakandans, and I have the starter set. I'm good with that. Um, One of our prime deckers, rest in peace, man. Wookie Bear wanted the Hulk, and he wanted Deadpool. But if folks want the X-Men, they'll get all the X-Men, and then they're happy with the game. They're good. Um, Now, one of the questions that come up from that perspective is very simple. How do stores stay open in selling games like that if there's a very little meta? And I want to turn you guys on to Turn Zero because they're in LA and they're really pushing for more to be a casual store. Okay. And I dig that. I'm like, oh, you're trying to build a casual community. I might be able to help with that. So, um, with all the, oh my God, that's good coffee. Such good coffee. um, so, how do casuals keep stores open and all that stuff? We'll get to that later on today. But the idea of there's not much else to talk about once you've talked about the lore and all that stuff in regards to the games. Now, I never thought about that because, again, my best friend looks at a lot of games like puzzles, as it were. Okay, he wants to solve the game, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're trying to solve the game. I can actually get with you on that. And I know a lot of people that like to break games. Okay, yeah, I will say that flat out. They love to break games. And that being the point, um, one of the things they talk about are strategies and things like that. However, there's also the online space. What do we mean? I spend a lot of time looking stuff up, y'all. When I'm not here on camera or busting my body building something for someone with millions of dollars, when I get home, I really can't move my body. I play with my dog a little bit, and then that's pretty much it. That's my whole life. All right. Um. So what do I do? Okay. What do I do with all that? Well, honestly, what I end up doing is going online and I'll watch battle reports, or I'll watch other things like sometimes I check out Aspect Tactics. I really love Tabletop Tactics out of the UK. It's one of the few channels I'm actually subscribed to for money. And because they release content every day in the way that I used to. And they talk about gameplay, they do battle reports, they show painting videos. They're pretty much everything I want back in the deck to be, but they also have a staff of 10. I'm trying. No, so most of the conversations that they have, though, that a lot of stuff that you see online has, is will this do good in tournament? Is this how to play in tournament? Not is this product fun, but is this something that will do well in a competitive space? Okay. Now, one of the places that I look at, and I look at hard when it comes to this stuff, is well, how can I put it? I look at the onboarding things. Okay, that's one of the things I do. A lot of you long time deckers know that when I first started Warhammer 40K, what got me into it? Oh, wait, it was Combat Patrol. I like the idea of getting a starter deck. I'm really big on those kinds of things because it's a good entryway in, and with a good starter set, you can decide how far you want to go with the game. Do you want to treat the game like a board game and just be super casual about it as something you get together with a friend for? Or do you put on your red vest and start singing, I want to be the very best that no one ever was? What are you going to be doing with all that? And if you're like me and you like the board game perspective, i.e. get in, get out, spend a couple of hours with your friends, that kind of thing, eventually the conversations will turn over into what combinations you can use, and all that stuff. I mean, it's almost inevitable, okay? Is it ineffable? Maybe, but is it inevitable? Sometimes as much as Thanos. Hey, Lyndon, how's it going, man? I believe it's Lyndon. Let me check. Little old Don. My monitor's kind of far away. But hey, welcome. Thank you for watching. Hey, got a first time chatter. Hello, I'm a friend of Luca. Oh, yeah, friend of Afatagan. All right, she's okay? Good. Just applied for a all right, fantastic. Good journey, Afatagan. Looking forward to seeing you back here once you've settled into the new spot. So yeah. As I was saying, there's you know, what are you gonna do with the game that you play? This is why I like onboarding. Um, but the discourse and conversation that comes around, Lyridon, thank you, that you can find online tends to be about the sport of the hobby. One of the things I've noticed with my love of one page rules and my love of the idea of Warhammer and a lot of games that you can create your own teams and stuff. Lots of talk about optimizing. Matter of fact, the owner operator of Guildhouse once told me something that I laughed at, and then somebody else is like, "Yeah, well, that's a good point, but a lot of gamers will optimize the fun out of anything if they can." And that person, not exactly incorrect. But simultaneously, in a lot of ways, they are. Um, so what do we do about this point? Where does this go? All right. Now, when it comes to tournament culture organically growing, here are some things that I've learned over the years, um, to not write that line, but to find how far over the line a person is comfortable going. Because I listen to the tournament tactics and things like that. I don't follow the meta to see what won. Like, I have no idea who won the Las Vegas Open last week. I don't know the person. I don't know what teams they played. I'm not really concerned. That's not my big thing. I don't know if there are any golden demons put out there because I'm not looking to be a competition painter. I'm not looking for any awards. I do like mastery, but I like mastery at my own pace, not at the not necessarily at the pace of um say a competition. Okay? I'm not really that guy. However, um one thing I definitely can say is a big merit to tournament culture is they are very good at explaining what rules mean. Because let's face it, I don't care if you're playing Hero Clicks, one page rules, Warhammer 40k, Halo Flashpoint, Monopoly, don't care. A lot of the rules can be kind of obtuse. And they can leave a lot of questions for wait, well, if I do this, and this, then is it possible that I can? And the answer a lot of the times is yes. The answer a lot of the times is no. But the tournament judges are the ones who can really take a look and make essentially decide the canon. Like, the tournament judges throughout the thing are as close to the Supreme Court as gaming gets. Um, and that is some really good stuff. Like, I like to know how certain rules work, especially since I give so many demonstrations. Um, Players ask a whole bunch of questions. A lot of the times it comes from a place of, I want to make sure that I'm not being cheated or there are loopholes or something. We'll get to that in a different show. All right. But one of the things I can say is it's fun to crack the code. It's also very fun to learn everything that your thing can do. So, tournament play becomes, it organically grows when it comes to talking about what teams can do. Like, I was at a game store in Torrance, California, and I was much newer to Warhammer 40k than I am now. And one of the players was like, "Dude, your sorcerer has like sustained 3 on one of his attacks." I'm like, "Really? Oh man, I've got to experiment with that." And that was where the conversation stopped. And I like that. I like that a lot. Primarily because with the stop of the conversation there, it wasn't someone telling me how to build my newest team. It wasn't about winning at all costs. It wasn't about winning in ways that don't let my opponents play. It really became, about playing. That's it. Just playing. Like, hey, did you know that your guy could do this? And I said, I did not. Thank you for letting me know. And that is it. That is as far as it went. And I was so happy about that because that is what signifies community for me. Um, and that was very nice. Now, whether or not I use it to efficiently do blah 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 blah, no, I they let me know a tool that I have in my toolbox, and hooray. Okay, what are you doing? Don't mess with my. Ah, okay, got it. I have a puppy now, y'all, and she's just rooting around the whole studio. And I thought she unplugged my screen for a minute. I was like, ah, um, so that is a major thing. But again, tournament culture becoming organic. When 90% of the conversations turn to infinite combos or not just the last big tournament, but how to beat the winning stuff from the last tournament. And very little stuff talks about the fun involved. This is where tournament culture grows. Okay. Um, who was it that I was talking to? I was having a meeting at Guildhouse Games yesterday. And someone said, "What? I like doing this because it's fun." And one of the employees there made a joke. And they were like, "Fun? Not in this house." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. Not in this house. All you can do in this house is complain about how this edition is inferior to the last one. And you can talk about the games that you wish that this game actually was. That is all." You know. And Charles, bless his soul, is like, "Why are you reciting the that guy mantra?" I'm like, "Cause I'm making fun. I'm making fun of Ray." Uh, yeah, I mean that was very much a cool thing. And don't get me wrong, a lot of like one of the reasons that I love Guildhouse Games as much as I do is that there are a lot of people there that play for the sake of playing. Oh, come here, come here. There we go. There we go. Hang on. See? Yeah. Now, say hi to everybody, Scraps. Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Look, ratings gimmick. Oh God, yeah. Now I've found my new I found my new background on social media. There you go. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. See, I'm just working. I haven't forgotten about you. Okay. Now you're gonna have to get out of my lap so that I can, yeah. There we go. There we go. Are you gonna relax now? Are you going to relax with your dirty, dirty feet? Yeah, there you go. You're relaxing. So I guess I have a co-host, which is fine. So yeah, say hi to my new co-host, Scraps. Yep, nope, 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 nope. You are not going over to there, and I don't want you spilling stuff. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. See, now I feel like the godfather of gaming, you know. You come to my channel as a friend. And if you'd come to me learning to game, then those other players would be suffering this very day. And then your competitors will come my competitors, and they will fear you. No, anyway. Sorry, I'm not, again, this is my first pet that I've actually had all to myself. So yeah, if you guys see me revert to being like, a 9-year-old, yep, sorry guys, I guess this might be what you tune in for. Who knows? So yeah, like I said, one of the reasons I really like gaming at Guildhouse Games is that a lot of the people there do know the meta. They do play the game. All right, but they very much are like, yeah, if we were in tournament, this would be different. But guess what? We're not. You want to take back your thing because you forgot to spend your sorcery points? Go for it. Sure. Now, does that mean people don't get tilted? Oh no. However, the amount of being tilted is a lot lower with casual players. All right, a whole lot lower. But, and when I say casual, I mean casual over tournament players. Okay. So yeah, I think that's some of the stuff. What do you guys think? You know, my chat's being really quiet right now. I mean, I realize it's dinner time and you're probably feeding kids and stuff like that. But I posed the question in a few stores. What is a casual player? All right. And we'll be getting to that soon. But first, I got to run an ad because I need to make money. Uh, oh man, I hate having to run ads. I really do. Yeah, so that's kind of a thing. So let's see who's in here today. Yeah, we've got Lyridon, we've got boop. Nope, not that one. Boop. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Okay. So, as we're doing this, yeah. Yeah, my puppy left my lap, but used my crotch as a springboard. Wasn't that fun? Let's see here. Godspeed. Well, thank you, Daryl. And hello everyone there on YouTube. If you don't have time to chat, that's fine. That's fine. I just want you guys to know that I'm glad you're here. Okay? Um hopefully the commercial break I had to take on Twitch is about over. It says I got about 18 seconds, so there we go. Um so yeah, today's subjects are of course in the description. We're going to be like our next subject of conversation. Okay, this subject of conversation is seriously, this is one that we've been wrestling with for a long time. And this is a direct reflection to Daryl's comment on Godspeed. Okay? What can casual players do to help keep stores open? Okay? Because if you guys are wondering, like, if it seems like I have a resentment toward tournament culture, I did for a long time. All right. And why? Um, what I've seen in tournament culture, at least here in Southern California, is a lot of tournament players turn a game into a sport and then turn that sport into the singular thing that defined them. Okay? Now, I am a gamer, but I'm also a comic book fan. I am also a musician. I am also a teacher. I am also a general laborer. I am also a dancer. I am also a fire breather. Take away any of those things or all of those things, and I'm still solar gray. I'm still me. You know, I am not defined by how well I do something or what the thing I do is, okay? I wear many hats, which makes sense because I have a lot of stuff on my mind. Um, but what I see is a very loud minority of people who define themselves not as people who enjoy doing a thing, but as people who do that thing. And if they don't do that thing, they're no longer people. That's how a lot of folks take. Hey, what's going on? Perkysaurus. Perkysaurus. Wait, Perkysaurus? Is that like an upright dinosaur? Be like, roar, I'm Perky, Perkysaurus, Perky. You know, I think that's actually kind of cool. And thank you very much for following. This is pretty awesome. Um, so with all of those things that I do, and what is this? Oh my god. You know, I would clap my hands and say the word, but I'm not a really big fan of JJ from Good Times. And if you're old enough to understand the reference, then you're already picturing it in your head. But dynamite, that's a fifth dimensional reptile. Not to be confused with Batmite, Nightmite, or Mr. Mixel Spitlick. Anyway, so like I was saying, um, one of my resentments toward tournament culture was tournament players speak loudly, especially online, and they're answering polls, complaining online, releasing videos and stuff. That's the stuff that companies listen to. Okay. And I mean this is just straight up fact. All right. I manufacture stuff. As you guys know, I have Flat Pack Realms, which is terrain for miniature wargaming and tabletop role playing. And the people who talk to me most about my product are people that want special orders or want me to customize it to what they do. Hell, even with this channel and all of the live streaming I do, most of the stuff I hear from the loud people that want higher production value or longer scripts, or, everyone tells me what they want me to do for them. And unfortunately, I got to look at data, analytics, what my time is allowing me to do, what my skill set is allowing me to do, and how many people do I have to put together a crew to put out content that I'm satisfied with. So there's so many different things. Now, as a casual game player, one of the things that I try and do is spread the word about the games that I like and build the community. Because no singular casual player is going to outspend a tournament player who's chasing the meta. I don't care if it's Warhammer 40k or Magic the Gathering or Hero Clicks or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Arcana, or what is that one I just learned about? The Disney one that's kind of like Kingdom Hearts, but not quite. I don't care what it is. Tournament players will spend their money on that, and a lot of money on that. So what do the casual players and the hobbyists do? Like, how can we keep stores open in the same way that theirs does? Now, I visited 4 game stores today. 4 game stores just in the greater Los Angeles area. And 3 of those 4 game stores are much like every other game store that I have been to across the United States, in the sense that Magic the Gathering really keeps their doors open. And major shouts out to Hasbro about that. Not about much else, because their business practices are terrible. But they have so many formats for people to play. They've got Commander, they've got Legends, they've got Open, they've got Tournament. And they're really good at not opening stores, but keeping stores open, because they have packets and stuff for organized play, not tournament play, but essentially they have ways for bunches of people to get together and play the game pretty much every night of the week. Not to mention the random pulls and the way that you have to buy all the cardboard crack and how many rooms it takes up in your house with all of those 5,000 count white boxes that just stack and stack and stack until you realize that you're looking at a tree, not the one that was cut down to make the cards, but they've all merged into one big piece of cellulose, and it's reforming the tree that they were cut from. No, never mind. Everyone's trying to get me back into Magic. I'm like, no, I'm out. No, man, no, one hit's too much. One deck is too much, and 1,000 decks aren't enough, man. But there's always somebody to play Magic with. You can pretty much play it anywhere, and you can build your competitive deck. You can experiment with your decks of all commons. Like, Magic players are really, really good at squeezing all the value they can out of the cardboard crack and making it fun along the way. I love those guys. And again, they do run the gambit. Matter of fact, the Timmy, Johnny, and Spike comparison for different types of ways of winning are based on Magic the Gathering tournament players. Okay? So that's good at keeping stores open. Now, what can we do as role players, as tabletop minis gamers, as people who aren't addicted to the cardboard crack, but we might be addicted to the opening and closing crack or the plastic crack? All right? What can we do to keep stores open and to make sure that there's always a place for us there? Because that's a big one. All right? One of the things I've learned over the years, and this is something that I do, is I actually try and organize events with stores. And I don't mean I go out and pass out flyers and stuff like that, not anymore. Um, but I try and set up days where it's like, hey, if anybody's interested in learning this game, since I'm here and I'm off work, does anyone want to learn? And I give demos, I teach. And other times, oh, you've gotten into my Carnivale stuff. Okay, you're chewing up my bridges. Guess I gotta make more. Gotta love puppies. I'm like, hey, that's a top to something. Oh no, I know what it's a top to. Oh no. But that's okay. You reminded me that I have to go into that box and pull out a bunch of different stuff. So thank you, Scraps. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I give lots of demonstrations of games that I like, and yeah, I do build communities. But let's just suppose that you don't want to be out there building communities. You don't want to, let's say you are as big an introvert as I am an extrovert. What can you do? Well, if you have an introvert or an extrovert gaming buddy, set aside 1 or 2 days a month to go play at the store. And if people show interest, invite them to watch and have your extrovert interact with them. Most of the time, people look at tables and they're like, I don't know. But remember, the more the store sells, the longer it's going to be there for us. And I can tell you, over the past, 32 years, that I've been a serious gamer. I have seen in the greater Los Angeles area alone so many game stores open and close. I've seen so many games have a big community and then die. Later on this week, we'll talk about how games die and what that means. Because in truth, I love me some dead games. I really do. I really like dead games. But yeah. So as casual players, as people that aren't chasing the meta, we don't want to go pro. We don't want to win the tournaments all the time. How can we participate and help keeping game stores open? It's actually pretty easy, actually. Um, when we're hanging out at a game store, welcome in 1 or 2 different people. Let people know what game you're playing and why you think it's fun. Maybe give a demonstration. Maybe have your extrovert friend give a demonstration or talk them through your turns. Having a third person there, a 24 karat extrovert, can do so many wonders for building community and keeping stores open. Okay. A lot of people ask, well, Solar, if you don't like tournament stuff so much, why do you watch so many battle reports? In truth, I watch them so that I can learn the games a little bit better. I have always had a difficult time reading rule books and getting it. Whether it's the first reading or I think it takes about 4 readings of a rule for me to get it. I have to read it. I got to make sure the words are right. I have to play it out in my head. But seeing it played helps immensely. I had a friend about, 5 years ago. This was before the pandemic and the before 4 times. And he was from the trailer parks as I'm from the hood. And I tried to tell him about Hero Clicks. And he's like, nah, sounds boring. Board games are boring. People who play board games are boring people, blah, blah, blah. And he was over at my apartment. And he watched my girlfriend at the time and I play Hero Clicks. And as he was watching the stuff we were doing, how we were using the powers, all that other stuff, he became interested. And I taught him how to play. And I gave him a bunch of clicks from my collection. And within 2 weeks of learning, he was wiping the floor with me. And he had a good time. I had a good time. And he was interested in other stuff. He got into War Machine. He got into a few other things. And we had a grand old time, I moved away, so it became harder for us to keep in touch and keep playing. But quite honestly, most of the time, um, building community and keeping stores open are as easy as showing people what you're doing and why. Not as a justification, but as an answer to curiosity. Okay? Um, there's a lot of talk about Los Angeles. Okay? A lot of talk about Los Angeles. How people are fake, people are plastic, blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you guys honestly, as an LA native, people are guarded. Okay? But they're friendly about being guarded here. All right? You see, here's the way it works in my region, and tell me if it's different in your region. Okay? Now, get away from there, Scraps. Okay. In my region, people are really scared to be judged poorly. They're really afraid of stigmas. So they might be curious about something, but they're afraid to be curious because it shows that they don't know something. And not knowing makes people feel uncomfortable, as in not safe, as in not worthy, as in not enough. So where I live, curiosity is stifled. Okay, it's pushed down, it's pushed out. And a lot of the times, all that is really required is to create a welcoming environment. Now, that becomes very hard, especially for us as gamers, all right? Understand, I see you, all right? I know so many gamers that when I start asking questions about what they're playing, they walls up, batten down the hatches, brace for impact, because they're expecting me to laugh at them, because curiosity is so foreign to a lot of people. And I'm like, no, it looks like you guys are having fun. I might have fun with that too. What are you guys doing? You know? And they're like, wait, he's genuinely interested? I'm like, yeah, I'm a curious man. I'm not a judgmental man. And then they'll show me what they're doing, you know? And to be that person, I can tell you when I'm giving demonstrations, I see a lot of people hover the table. Okay? They hover the table and they want to ask something, but they don't want to interrupt. They don't want to get in the way. They don't want to be a bother. They don't want to look stupid. Thing after thing after thing after thing. And so, being the 24 karat extrovert that I am, hey, what's up, Marquise? You know, I'm literally that guy that's like, hey, you got any questions? It's a fun game. Let me show you how to do this. You know, actually, Marquise is here. I'm glad that he's here. He's one of the few folks, really talented artist, by the way. You guys should follow his stuff. I recently taught him how to play the DC Universe game, and he and I live at least 1,000, if not 2,000 miles away. And because I'm a casual player and I love to play the game, you know, I taught him how to do it using Roll20. And we had a good old time playing the game on Roll20 and doing stuff like that. And I do that for the battle reports. I do plan on filming eventually once I get out of this housing crisis. Not the country's, just mine. But when I taught him how to play, he had so many inspirations and so many ideas. I'm like, whoa, dude, slow down. You know? But now he's into it, you know? And so if he's at a game store and he sees the DC Universe book, he'll probably pick it up, you know? And that's the kind of thing that casual players can do to keep stores open. We don't have to do one thing and master it, you know? One of the things someone said to me today, and I've been talking to a lot of people, is, hey, what's up? Come from Gygax country, so curiosity when it comes to board games is really prevalent. Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're way into it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. As soon as I showed you what the lanterns could do, you're like, I want all the lanterns, all the cores, you know? You know, but one of the things that one of the guys I talked to today, I forget which one because I've talked to like 7 people about gaming today. Like I said, I went to 1, 2, 3. I went to 4 stores today. trying to get these stores to buy Flat Pack Realms wholesale. I'll be doing more tomorrow. And got to hit a different region. So, like I was saying, one of the things he told me is that a lot of people are like, if they get into one game, they don't want to get into another game. And this is something that I see a lot. And it's something that I think comes from tournament culture. But maybe you guys can inform me on that. Please talk to me in the chat. And what that is this. The idea of a casual player. A lot of people don't believe that a casual player can play games for mastery. And there's a difference between mastery and competition. What do I mean? Well, if you're not competitive, then how do you know you can really master the game? Dude, relax, okay? As you guys know, I particularly play about 14 different games. 14! When I set up Decker Day about 3 years ago, all of the game displays were my personal games. From DC Universe to Dead Zone to One Page Rules to D&D to D&D variants, from Esper Genesis, which is from Alligator Alley Games, which is D&D but sci-fi, from Call of Cthulhu, which is a tabletop role-playing game that has a completely different system, to D&D, to the Game of Thrones board game, to Splendor, to Zombies, so many different games. And a lot of folks believe that if they get into one game that's a hobby, if they go to another game, then they're cheating. They're betraying. You know what I mean? And that's not the case. Because these major companies don't care about you. They're not going to be, it's not like if you start playing Star Wars Shatterpoint. People from, I believe it's Asmodee Games, they're not gonna come up to your house going, wait, let me see your phone. Who's that game? Who's that game? What, you sitting up, you playing Carnivale behind my back? I thought I was your game. No, they don't do that. Okay. One of the reasons that I love so many starter kits is I can get into so many different games and see where my fit is. As you guys know, I love one-page rules. I love one-page rules. Not just because of the cost of the buy-in, but pretty much for the quickness of gameplay, the easily understandable stuff. I mean, just so many different things. Now, I'm speaking mainly to casual players. I see that a lot in fighting games. Really, Daryl? Now, my theory on this is from the mastery type things. Now, let's take fighting games for an example. Way back in my day, when you had to go to liquor stores to play fighting games because there wasn't no arcades that were in walking distance, but the liquor store was just on the other side of the park. And they had Street Fighter II, the World Warrior. I remember I got my first kiss, and I caught the bus all the way from Long Beach back to my house in South Central Los Angeles. We call it South Central. Y'all know it is. That's South LA now. And I took whatever change I had from riding the bus because I had just gotten my first kiss from a breathtaking brunette. I wonder what she is doing now. Beautiful young girl, brunette, olive oil skin, blue eyes. She looked like Talia al Ghul. And I went into my local liquor store and I put a quarter in that Street Fighter machine and I wiped everybody in the store off that game. And then the next day, I went to Disney World. Because back then, they had this Super Bowl commercial and it was like, you just won a Super Bowl. What you doing next? Oh, I'm going to Disneyland. But I'm from Southern California, so we go to Disneyland all the time. But, back in those days, next day I hopped on a plane to Florida. And once I got to Florida, I went to Epcot Center and I was just, yeah. The story actually ends pretty tragically. She broke up with me over the phone while I was in Florida. And yes, it's all a true story. But, but the thing is, I was good at Street Fighter. And then another game came out. They took out that Street Fighter machine from that liquor store. And they put in this game called Pit Fighter. And I'm like, what's this? This ain't Street Fighter. Why are you asking my... So I put a quarter in and I played that Pit Fighter game. you know. And yeah, I started doing that Pit Fighter game, and I'm like, this ain't Street Fighter, you know. This ain't that game that remind me of my first kiss. I ain't got no nostalgia from this. And then they put in another game called Mortal Kombat, and that Mortal Kombat game, best soundtrack of the early '90s. I tell you what, to this day, I can be like, get over here. And people know what I'm talking about. You know, man, that was the whole back in my day. So now they've taken it all the way to esports. Now they're fighting game athletes. You know, I honestly think that if it is like that in fighting games, and according to Daryl and Marquise, it's very prevalent in fighting games. You know, I can see that with the level of mastery. You know, well, because I'm not gonna lie, I spent a '90s college tuition learning how to get good at Street Fighter. So when Mortal Kombat came out, I at least paid for the books of somebody going to college at the time, because those games were designed to eat all your quarters. Just quarters were like Pac-Man. Oh my god. Yeah, mastering the resources. I definitely see that. And see, I did a show on how awesome things like combat patrols, spearheads, starter kits, all that stuff. I honestly think that those are amazing. Now, I'm going to say something that makes me sound a little bit world, so bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. Now, you look at something like combat patrol or spearhead, and yeah, money, admiration, and the in-group. We'll get there, Daryl. We're with that. First, I'm going to talk about that money. Okay, cash rules everything around me. Cream, you know. I get that getting into a game makes everybody into that comedy routine from Chris Rock from the early '90s. $160 for that game. Good Lord. You know, I totally see that. I totally see that. And a lot of companies do. Now, unfortunately, the two companies that have the giant market share, and when I say market share, I mean the most customers and the access to the most customers, have a whole lot of sweaters to pull over a whole bunch of eyes. Whatever do you mean by that, Mr. Gray? I will tell you what I mean by that. You go into a game store. Let's say you've never played these games before, and you walk into a game store and you see the wall of Games Workshop over here, and you see the wall of Dungeons and Dragons over here, and then you see the wall of everything that's not Games Workshop or D&D. Okay? Where do you start? Where do you go? Who do you play with? Do you have to start your own gaming circle? Like, what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? All right. So I'm gonna tackle the biggest beast first, and that is Games Workshop. Now, there is so much information out there with them games and that workshop, okay, about how Combat Patrol is a great idea, but it's a crappy thing. Hey, Zan. Oh, we'll get to the bit stores, bro. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll get to the bits boxes. But see, that's intermediate miniature stuff. All right, I'm talking straight up beginners. You saw somebody playing Warhammer on a TV show. You watch Stranger Things, and you want to know about them D&Ds. Okay. And you look at a Combat Patrol, $160. Good Lord. And unfortunately, Games Workshop says, yeah, no. Here are just the figures. You want the rules? You must buy the rules. But no, you can actually download them for free online. But there's so many steps in getting involved. And this is actually by design. Because since they have the market share, all the new people will go to the most popular thing first for very good reasons. You know, it has the largest community. You have more people to ask questions about. You potentially have more people to play with, blah, 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 blah. So if you have to jump over 8, 9, 10, 11 hurdles to get to the most popular thing, do you honestly think the thing that's not as popular is going to be easier? I mean, that's straight up lizard brain stuff, you know? And the answer to the question is actually, yeah, most other stuff is easier. Oh man, somebody wrote a book. Skill based sunk cost fallacy. Yeah, people who played 2D fighters have easier time sticking to 2D fighters. Same with 3D fighters or anime figures. Now imagine you need a small but significant investment to get into it. Imagine tabletop gaming being smaller. And once you're in the ecosystem, it's easier to stick close to the safest bet. Yes, there is a lot of that. Okay? And that's one of the reasons I'm here, because I'm letting y'all know the world is so much bigger. In our last show, all right, we talked about a game that I just got into. And why did I just get into it? Because it pretty much just came out. And when I say just came out, I mean this was my Christmas gift to myself. All right? And that is Halo Flashpoint. What? Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah. Halo Flashpoint. Now, the Recon Edition is fantastic. Okay? It's $75. It's based on Halo. What? Yeah, $75. And I'm going to be straight up with y'all. All right? I mean, look at this. You get all this stuff. You get some buildings. You get some blocking terrain. You get some scattered terrain. You get 8 figures. You get extra weapons. You get a bunch of tokens. You get all the dice you need. You get a rule book all in one box for $75. Okay? So call it $82 out the door after tax. All right? And you get Halo figures. Yeah. Look at all that. Yeah, you get your Spartans and it looks cool and all that jazz. And the thing is, $75 ain't that much, guys. A lot of people will be like, what are you talking about? $75? $75 is $75. Really? Spend it. I'm sorry to tell you. I mean, this is a conversation I had a lot with my mom before she passed, okay? I used to tell her the 5 is the new 1. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I was able to buy these little pies. They were like little fruit pies and little pudding pies and stuff like that. And they were pretty big. And when I was in 2nd grade, they were 5 for $1. Now they're $1.50. Okay. Same pie. As a matter of fact, not even the same pie, because the ones for $1.50 are actually smaller than the ones I used to buy for 20 cents. All right. Real talk. I don't know how many adults that we have in this chat today, between here and YouTube, and thank you guys for being here. But real talk. Oh, wow. Let's see. Yep. What I can gain from it is money, admiration, and the in group. Yep. Check out the last time you put gas in your car. $75 went real quick, didn't it? You know, but with that $75, the $75 that you spend with Halo Flashpoint, okay, just Halo Flashpoint, just the Recon Edition, you get a full game, okay? You get a game. Do you go further with it? That's up to you, all right? And the way I look at it, and this is something that the Duggernaut and I used to talk about, because he was really into a lot of board games that you play one time, okay? We're talking stuff like Gloomhaven and like House on Haunted Hill, stuff that required you to, hang on, stuff that required you to draw on different stuff and rip up game pieces and never play the game again. And I'm like, why would you spend $125 on a game you can only play once? And he's like, let's break it down. And he said to me what I'm going to say to you, okay? Which is this. This game is good for 4 or 5 people. So 4 or 5 people get together, play this game at best in one night, probably over the course of 2 to 3 Saturdays. Okay, 2 to 3 Saturdays. Now the game is $125. So you split that between 5 friends. You guys are paying $25 a piece. Now, what can you and your friends do for 1, maybe 2 nights on weekends for $25 a head? And I'm like, I can't argue with that logic. I mean, a movie ticket is 15 to 20 depending on where you go. So for the same price as you and your friends going to the movies together, you guys get to be somewhere that you can drink alcohol, you don't have to be quiet about, and you can have just as much fun, you know? And this is coming from somebody who's poor. I'm not broke. I'm poor. What's the difference? A broke person makes poor decisions with their money. A poor person makes the best decision they have because the amount of money they have is not nearly as much as they need. Okay? It's not a state of mind. It's a state of condition. All right? And sorry to tell a lot of folks out there, and this is as close to political as I want to get this month, poor folks aren't poor from bad decisions. Poor folks are poor because at some point in their life, circumstances beyond their control put them behind, and as hard as they work, they can't catch up. Okay? It's that simple. And I am counting student loans because nobody could control parents, schools, television, internet, books, and comic books telling 2 generations of people that unless they go to university, they're going to be garbage men who don't make a lot of money and get drunk and beat their spouses. Or they can go to college and they go to the magical glass building where they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. That's what was sold for 30 years. You know, and I'm saying that as somebody who has 0 college debt. All mine is paid off, and I didn't have to take out loans because I'm old enough to have gone to college before it ballooned in price. All right. So as a poor person, what I can say is that $75 on Amazon for something that you can do with your friends over and over and over again, especially if you have one friend that you can split it with. We are literally talking about $37.50. $37.50. How much gas does that put in your tank? I'm betting not a full tank. You see what I mean? But we are still stuck, since we are in a transitionary economic period, to where, and it's not external, it's internal, all right? Because we still see prices the way that we understood prices 10, 15, 20 years ago. Coming from a man who's pushing 50, it only gets worse, guys. It only gets worse. We literally go, good Lord, $17 for a box of cereal. You know, I mean, that's just how it goes. However, pizza stays about the same. It's kind of weird. And in truth, pizza has actually come down in price as I've gotten older. It's kind of weird. Like, seriously, I got Little Caesars last night, and I'm like, $8 for a large pizza. All right, cool. When I was growing up, it was $26. You know, and the pizza's about the same quality. Garbage. Shout outs to those of you guys that live in places with good pizza, such as the Midwest and the East Coast. Here in California, we got Mexican food on lock. All right, you won't find better burritos than Southern California. You know, second best burritos, Texas. All right, but you won't find better than us. All right, we're even better than New Mexico. No, not shots fired, guys. I love you guys in New Mexico, but everybody who's come to California and left is like, nah, y'all got Mexican food on lock. I'm like, yeah, you know. Oh, Zan, it warms my heart that you knew exactly where I went for pizza. Vitty, huh? uh, but yeah, so oh man, it's just what is the term in Little Caesar's Veritas? um, but anyway, um, so the idea that getting into one thing means that you're locked in, that's not the truth in the 21st century. Okay, um, yeah, let's. Oh yeah, Marquis. San Diego has unquestionable cardiac dominance. Preach, bro, preach. But how can they not when they're literally 5 miles from the border? um, oh, y'all are killing me. Xanathate says they ask what I want, and I ask them what they have. If I were picky, would I be going to Little Caesars? Yeah, welcome to Little Caesars. What would you like? I would like to get back to my car before the engine cools down. One hot and ready coming up, you know? Oh man, I did not plan on laughing this hard today. But yeah, I mean real talk. This is real facts. So, you know, so I'm sorry to tell you guys that, you know, $100 is not a whole lot to spend. 120 is not exactly a lot to spend. And there's a lot that you can get for the same $160 that you would spend on a combat patrol, you know? I've talked about this stuff over and over again. You've got Carnivale, you've got Dead Zone, you've got Mantic's new game, Firefight, which is actually the same scale as Warhammer 40K. You can sign up for one-page rules. I mean, there's a lot that you can do, which means you've got a whole lot of variety, which means that you're not locked into anything. I want to check something real quick. I'm gonna go to Jeff Bezos' site here, and while I'm at it, I want to talk to you guys and say, while you're here, why not give us a subscribe? Okay, why not subscribe to us here on Twitch with your Amazon Prime gaming thing? It doesn't cost anything. Matter of fact, you'll be using Jeff Bezos' money, and that will help keep the lights on. Like literally, what I make from Twitch and Patreon actually keeps my internet on and helps me pay my phone bill. So that helps. And I'm straight up, I've got Getro PCS. I ain't got no shame. Yeah, I got an iPhone, but I got it off of a dead person. I live a strange life. Anyway, let me check something here. Star Wars Shatterpoint. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So check it out, y'all. Okay, I'm looking here at the Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff, and a lot of Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff you can get for as little as $30 or $40, but it requires two people, and you got a lot of the same gauge. You go through, so for $80 and a little bit of downloading stuff online, you can start playing Star Wars Shatterpoint, and this is for the hobbyers as well. And of course, the Star Wars Shatterpoint core set, the core box. Okay, we're looking at $112, and that has everything you need to play, including the rule book. But again, I'm all about the friendly local game store, but you'll be paying roughly around the same price. You know, somewhere from like 112 to 150, depending on whether or not they have a sale. So you're not locked into anything, guys. Like, real talk. If you honestly think that you're locked into gameplay and you're locked into a game if you start one thing or another, times, my friends, have changed. Okay? They have straight up changed. All right? Times have changed. It's not like that anymore. You know, you can get into any game and dip your toes in for about the same price as it takes to go to the movies and then go to a burger joint after. Like, dead serious. So it's value for money, but I know the numbers seem very, very daunting. All right, what are you into, Scraps? You're just like, oh, look at me, I'm running around, look. And you've picked up one of my things. Oh, You know what? I am so glad that you are here, Tanya, and I have missed you so much. There's so many things I want to talk to you about from both of our absences, from the spaces there. But really, I have missed so much of you, and I watched your half-hour video, and I got your back 100%. Okay, I'm right there with you. Um, so seriously, like big hugs. If you guys haven't, y'all need to subscribe to Tanya the War Mistress. She is amazing. She is amazing. Honestly, it's kind of a fight, so I'm gonna break a pool cue and throw it to you and Zan. To say, battle it out for my best friend in the Warhammer community. All right, so, because seriously, um, amazing painter, understands the rules for Warhammer, great online content. I mean, your co-parents, yay! I finally have both parents. I've been wanting that for my 47 years on this planet. Um, but yeah, for real. So, the thought that once you get into a game, I don't care what game that is, Star Wars Shatterpoint, Warhammer 40K, Mordheim, the new kid on the block that's going, look at me, my chest is so big, being Trench Crusade, being Trench Crusade. I don't care what game you're into, you're not locked in. We're living in a golden time where you can dip your fingers in a whole lot of stuff and it all costs about the same. It really does. It all costs about the same. And the second thing is really important, okay? As long as you have one or two friends that you can do these things with, you have a game group, all right? So, going back to where this segment started, being what can casual players do to keep stores open? The too long don't read is A, play at your friendly local gaming store. Okay? I'm going to give you guys a couple of secrets that I've learned over the course of my adult life. Las Vegas, one of my favorite places in the west of the continental United States. Scraps, come here. Come here. Come here, girl. Or not. Hey, come here. Yeah, there you go. Matter of fact, here. Oh, look at this. What's this? What's this at? Come here. There you go. Come on up. Come on up. I want my friend to meet you. Come on. Come on. I want to show you to Tanya because she has a dog too. Come here. Come here, girl. Come on. All right, you know what? Fine. Go get the die. I am so glad those giant D6s only cost $1. If you watch, yeah. If you watch the on demand of this episode, she was on camera for a little bit. She is adorable, and I didn't mean to get a dog, but she was teleported to my porch. Anyway, like I was saying, Las Vegas, loves when people win. I know that sounds that sounds anti-intuitive, right? Or counterintuitive. Follow me on this. If you're in Las Vegas and you walk past a craps table and you got 30 people at a craps table, okay? And one person is rolling them dice, because we're gamers, we like rolling dice, so I use craps, all right? When whoever's rolling the dice is on a streak, the whole table is exploding. Everybody is having fun at that table. And you know what happens? Other than my dog running out of my studio with one of my styrofoam hills, you know what happens? People go to that table. Okay? So as casual gamers, as gamers that aren't in the competitive scene, when we play games at the friendly local game store and we have fun, all right? We have so much fun. We're making funny voices. We're laughing. We have the do the right thing reaction that all black folks have when you say something unexpected. Oh, which is really what we play this game for. Let's be honest. All right. We have We have all those games, but we want to see that dice roll, that last second save, that whole thing. When we're at the friendly local gaming store and we have those moments, if people don't walk up to our tables directly, they go to the store owners. Hey, what are those guys doing? What are they playing? Why does that guy have a tape measure? Why is that guy standing behind an open book? Does he not want them to see his notes? What are those people doing over there? What are all those little pieces of wood on that hexagon? And they become curious. And once they become curious, you've now made a few friends. You've now inspired other people to try and have the fun that you've generated your time to. And stores see that and they love that. Have you ever noticed at your friendly local game store, if they charge at all for playing in the store, it's only like $3 to $5? You know, I mean, exactly. Once they're curious, we get our greasy little mitts into them and say, hey, would you like to see that thing I painted? It's really pretty. Now you can do it. Matter of fact, I think I have an extra one here. I think I have an extra rhino laying around. Maybe you can try. Not that I stand outside of game stores in a trench coat going, hey, I got that spearhead, because I don't do that anymore. But when they see the people having fun, they go back and they hope that people are having fun. I'll let you guys know. Since I got my copy of Halo Flashpoint, I have given 7 demo games. Okay, 7 demo games at 4 different stores because I wanted to show off Flat Pack Realms. And I've had people going, oh, is this on the shelf? Is this on the shelf? When I was giving demonstrations of one page rules, when I was like, every time I give demonstrations of a game and people are having fun, the first thing they want to do is buy that game. I cannot tell you how many copies of Splendor I have sold at various friendly local game stores. I'm like, oh no, this is Splendor. You want to play? Yeah, blah 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 blah. Oh man, you got all the obsidian, and I was trying to get that guy, and you got the patron and all that stuff. Oh my god, this game is fun. Where can I get that game? Well, that game there is on the shelf. Go ahead and get your own copy. All right, there we go. Boom. And again, that's the kind of thing that keeps the local friendly game store open and keeps us in our third space. Okay, it keeps us in a place where we can go to just hang out. We can just go hang out, get a soda, and play a game. Have you guys ever noticed when you walk into your friendly game store, they have an entire wall of open games that people can sit down and play? Why do you think that is? It's so that people can play the games, have fun. It's the sample. It's the first one that's free. In fact, I'm probably going to be giving a demonstration of the Game of Thrones board game from Fantasy Flight from like 10 years ago. And people are going to be like, ooh, can I buy a copy of this? So I got to work with the friendly local game stores in my area. As a matter of fact, let me run this damn commercial. And so as you guys know, I have my own line of terrain that's pre-painted and portable. So let us take a look. Let me just I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to turn that off, and yeah. Ooh, nope, take it down. And let's play the video, and we'll be right back. I hate it, but then I'm going to be typing in the chat because I want to catch up with Miss Tanya. There we go. So, all right. Am I muted? I am muted. Yes, we've seen all that before. This time of year, I'm always behind on a lot of things, and my goal is pretty high. But this year, it's going to be a little different. I'm launching a new product, and I'm asking $85 donations for the entire set. And for you gamers out there, this is something I've been working on for a very long time. So please drop an $85 donation into the GoFundMe and, well, check out the commercial to see what you're getting. And thanks a lot. Also share this with your friends.
I love tabletop wargaming. I have so much fun with it, it's crazy. But what am I going to do about terrain? Look at all of these bins, and this stuff looks awesome, but where do you put it? How do you carry it, and how do you do it without breaking? I'd like to introduce you guys to Flat Pack Realm.
The all-in-one terrain system in a box. Flatpack Realms packs down perfect for easy storing and easy transport. And when you're done playing, you can pack the entire set into one box that fits on any bookshelf.
We want to make sure that we can get those made and out as fast as possible because we know we've missed the Christmas rush.
Flatpack Realms comes in three genres: modern, postmodern, postmodern, and sci-fi. Visit the GoFundMe link below to order your set of Flatpack Realms today for the low price of $85 plus shipping. Flatpack Realms. Unpack the adventure. I know. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah. Also, I am thinking about making this a regular thing to stream a little bit later. I was trying to go for 3 o'clock to be like, the guy that the family watched around dinner, but yeah, but yeah, I'm really thinking like I generally like the 6 to 8 time slot, except for Wednesdays because that is when I play an open mic and blow off steam by playing music. But yeah, so yeah, that's the Flat Pack Realms thing. I'm gonna leave a link to the GoFundMe in the chats here, just so that you guys can maybe pass it around and tell some stuff. Very Dresden. Thank you very much. Yeah, hang on here. Boop. And there you go. There's the GoFundMe link if you guys are interested in Flatpack Realms. And I'm gonna film a better commercial because one, I don't like the sound quality, and two, it doesn't just come in 3 flavors; it comes in 5. We've got modern, we've got Art Deco, we've got Venetian, we've got sci-fi and like hardcore sci-fi, and of course, we've got fantasy. And this stuff works with your D&D game. I actually got an order for Flat Pack Realms because someone wants to use it with their zombie side, and I'm like, hey man, do it to it. So, moving on to our final segment, okay? And our final segment being boop-a-doo. What is a casual player? Now, I've talked a lot about the difference between someone who plays a game and an athlete, okay? Using basketball as a metaphor. Um, there are the people who go and play pickup games on Saturday mornings, and then there are those people who are at the park or at the gym at 3 a.m. practicing their jump shots and their jumping drills. Okay? One is an athlete, one is a person who likes to play a game. All right? And when I talk about casual play versus tournament play, that's kind of the thing I mean. I mean, do you enjoy playing the game for the sake of playing the game, or are you looking to take home tournament trophies, and are you training for that? Now, since I have spent a long time defining tournament players, I thought that it would be fair and a little more communicative to ask the question, what is a casual gamer? Now, let me explain to you where a lot of this stuff came from for me. Okay? Set the Wayback Machine to about 2003. I'm working at a game store called the Game Castle in Fullerton. And since I work there and I want to be a good employee and I like being a good salesman, I specialized in one of each type of game that we sold. I'm talking At least, okay, at least one of each type, which meant I had Dungeons and Dragons and I had White Wolf, and this is pre-Pathfinder. Okay, so this is back in third edition D&D. Okay, way back when I was a younger man who had a better back, better knees, and I didn't need these glasses. I had, of course, the games from White Wolf, like Vampire the Masquerade, Mage the Ascension. Also had Dungeons and Dragons. And for card games, I had, of course, I had a little bit of Magic the Gathering, but our manager was weird in the sense of, how can I put it? Former tournament champions would come into the store challenging him for duels. Like, we pretty much should have had the double swinging doors so that when they came in looking for the manager, I could literally be back going, wah, wah, wah. Because, real talk, it got serious. So he had Magic, but I had Lord of the Rings from Decipher. I had Warlord from Alderac Entertainment, also known as AEG, and I had Highlander. All games that were pretty obscure and all games that are currently dead. Love dead games. And of course, I had HeroClix. And of course, I had War Machine from Privateer Press. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about my time with War Machine, and this was a thing here in Southern California. Now, I had one main group that I played with outside of work. Now, for both Lord of the Rings and War Machine, I was a tournament judge. And the reason I had to learn to be a tournament player was because, as an employee of the store who played at the store, even when I was off the clock, I was representing the store because you could see me playing the game on my off hours, and then you come in and I'm behind the counter. So I didn't have individual agency as a player. Okay. However, in my gaming group outside of my job, I had some folks that really wanted to get good at the game. They really wanted to get good. And they did things with the game that I just did not join them in. And what do I mean by that? They turned this game into a full-time job. They were studying the meta. They were reading every bit of lore, every errata, every new data slate. They were looking at all the clarifications of the rules. They were going over games in their head, and they were measuring bit by bit in their brains. They were coming up with, again, no, hold up, Tanya. I'm not attacking you. What I am saying is I'm just pointing out the difference between the two because I recognize that they both are important. And the first half of the show is how tournament players are the players that really keep stores open and keep games alive. Okay? But yeah, that's how deep into the game that they were. And I don't know if it's because I'm not competitive at my core. Again, when I opened the show, I talked about how when I was growing up, I was not welcomed anywhere. And so I had to prove my worth in order to be allowed to play. Whether it was basketball or football or, in my early days of D&D and my early games of tabletop games. But, so my friends did all of these things, okay? Literally, they came up with first turn tactics. They had answers for everything their opponents could put up, and they knew all the stats for all of the figures that were out with War Machine, which wasn't difficult because it was only one book, and all the stats to all of the robots and all of the infantry came in that one book, and they knew every page of that book, and they had counter plans for everything that came in that book. And I noticed when the second book came out and my faction got new stuff, the moment I put my new stuff on the table, they would focus their fire on taking down that new thing because it was new and it was powerful and it was big. And I'm like, I don't know how to play this thing because they'd studied everything. They saw the threat and they took it out. And heaven help me if I didn't get my first turn. Okay, they played the game as though they were playing in a tournament for money. And I'm like, yeah, so you guys are tournament players. And their response to that was, no, I don't play tournaments. And I'm like, but you're doing everything that tournament players do. You know, it's kind of like being at the gym at 3 o'clock in the morning. Come on up. Come on up, girl. Come on. I know you got the zoomies. Zoom. I guess not. It's like being at the gym at 3 o'clock in the morning, doing your jump drills, practicing your jump shots, working on your pick and roll, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, but never actually playing the game in front of an audience or in a gym against another team. It's just that's what you're doing every morning, day in, day out, for the pickup game on Saturday. So they're doing everything that the athletes do while stating, I'm not an athlete. And I'm like, why? Because you don't go to the tournaments, but you do everything else that tournament players do in preparation for tournaments. Okay? Where I define the casual player. Okay, the casual player as the person who just goes for the pickup game on Saturday. All right? And what do I mean by that? Hey, come on up, girl. Come on. Oh, you're just not having it, huh? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not getting up. I'm working. I know. We'll go running. You can run around the backyard and all that stuff while you're there, okay? But between now and then, I got to be here and talk to these guys who really want to see you, but you don't like being on the lap while I'm on the microphone. I get it. So, you know, where if I want to pick up game, I'll tell you. Now, this doesn't mean that casual players don't do theory craft. That doesn't mean they don't build their teams. But what I see a lot with a lot of tournament players who do all that stuff like the gym is that they don't know that they're tournament players. They believe that that culture is the way to play the game. Now, using the Magic the Gathering thing, I've always been a Timmy. However, and Timmy is the guy that goes, oh my God, I got the new shiny thing. I want to put that on the table. Yay! Look at my new card. Look, it's all foil. Yeah. You know, that's where I'm at. And I've always been that, you know. When I first got into my Thousand Suns, and I got Magnus the Red, I wanted to put Magnus the Red on there. I'm like, oh my God, look at him. And he's got the wings and he's doing the freaking glam metal hand, and he's got the hair, and he's like, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I want to put him on the table and I want to see the gaze of Magnus. You know, I totally want to do that so I can imagine the giant Hell in the Cell wrestling ring made of fire come down and him challenging another Primarch to a duel. Yeah, you know. And tournament players might focus fire on Magnus first turn and all that stuff. And I never get my moment. But that doesn't mean I don't theory craft. That doesn't mean I don't put together teams where I'm like, I wonder if I could actually pull off this thing. Like for Warhammer 40k, when I learned about the Apothecary Biologists combined with the Destroyers for the Space Marines, I'm like, or not the Destroyers, I think the Devastators. They're what Games Workshop wanted to replace the Terminators with, and I'm like, I think they look really cool, but since I haven't been playing the game since the 80s, I think the Primaris models look cool. And when I saw that you can do some kind of combination to roll over 38 dice in an attack, thank you, Space Marine Steve, major shouts out. I'm like, oh my God, I want to see if I can do that and actually kill something, you know. But I, as a casual player, I don't think about that in tournament setting. Like, if I can pull that off, I'm like, wow, Pyrrhic victory. I did the thing I wanted to do. You know, I know when 10th edition dropped, I wanted to see if I could put together a team that had 30 sorcery points with my Thousand Suns. And I did. Have I played it? No, because I don't have a lot of time to play 1,000-point games at stores, let alone 2,000-point games. But you guys get where that goes. But this is my theory. And I put that question to a lot of people, especially in the past couple of days. I've asked like a small sample size of people that work at game stores and people that hang at game stores, how do you define a casual player? And the most popular answer that I've gotten is a player that isn't really focused on winning as much as they are on playing. And I'm like, can you please elaborate? Elaborate. And they said, well, the casual player wants to win the game, but they don't spend their time playing the meta. They don't optimize the fun out of the game. They play the game to the best of their ability. They hope they win, but the act of playing is enough. And I said, huh, all right, I'm good with that. One of the people I asked was tilted at the time because he was actually playing a game and missed 4 turns in a row where he couldn't make saving throws of 2. So he literally just had to not roll 1s on D6s, and for the life of him, he just kept bombing that one. And oh my God, do I know that one. Let's see. We got the War Mistress, who is an authority in my eyes, and I take everything she says seriously when it comes to Warhammer, and no, this is not a freaking joke. Casual players play what they have and what they like over what the meta says is good. Okay. Marquise, one of my competitive folks. Casual players are players who adjust the value that they place on winning against the time they can spend playing it. Ooh, I love these answers. This is some really good stuff. Haven't heard from you, Zen, so I'm guessing you're doing some kind of domestic thing. But yeah, this is some really good stuff, you know. So when it comes to casual play, I like to really define these things because I always ask the question, not what are you playing, but what are you playing for? Okay, are you playing to pass the time? Are you playing because it's something you enjoy doing? Are you playing because being good at this thing is how you define the goodness in yourself? People don't like when I ask that question. Tell you the truth, I've asked that question to a lot of people over the years, and most of the time they get real defensive. But I believe it was Arbiter Ian that brought up, hey, what's going on, Fatagan? Let's see. Okay. I understand needing a break, man. I definitely do. And I say man in the very gender neutral type thing, but I understand, because if I say girl, then people will be like, why are you saying girl? Why not woman? I'm like, oh, okay. I get it, bud. I get it, bub. Yeah, there you go, bub. All right, hang on. Yeah, bub. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I went full Shaggy. I'm wacky today. I've spent a good amount of time marketing my wares to friendly local game stores. So I was driving around Los Angeles for about 6 hours today. And now I'm here doing the show because the 6 hours I spent working was not spent grinding steel, lifting boxes, or holding up heavy wood planks. Okay. So as I was saying, so I had to ask that question because, as I said, my friends who did all the things that competitive tournament players do thought that they were casual. And when you guys, okay, and this goes out to any new players I have out there, any new players that are going to be coming this way in the future, okay, I'm talking to you from the past. Most folks will give you 3 answers if you ask, are they competitive or are they casual? They will give you 3 answers. I like casual play, but I'm a competitive person. I either am or I'm not a tournament player. Or, of course, I'm a casual player. In my experience, most of these answers cannot be trusted. So what do you see with your eyes? Okay. Now, I'm going to put this out there flat out. I do not dislike tournament players. I really don't. Most of the games that I play, well, let me tell you guys a story. This is back, all the way back in 2002. Okay, 2002. I was teaching my friend Tony HeroClix. And after I explain to him the basic rules, because the way I teach is I teach the basics of the rules, and then I put up a low impact game. And you know what he said? He looked at me and he says, okay, is this an instructive game or a cutthroat game? And I'm like, ooh, I like your wording on that. Okay? Because casual player or tournament player does not translate to lazy or cutthroat. Okay? And a lot of folks, especially the more toxic in these environments, I don't care what game you're playing, be it tennis, baseball, D&D, Warhammer 40K, HeroClix, Magic the Gathering, or Monopoly. Okay? A cutthroat player playing in a cutthroat manner against a player who does not play in a cutthroat manner makes the game relatively unfun for the player that isn't playing cutthroat. Okay? And I may start using cutthroat instead of tournament player because I know a lot of tournament players are like, hey, and I'm like, well, I don't mean that. I mean the cutthroat ones. I mean the win at all costs ones. I'm not win at all costs. No, but you're very cutthroat. And most of the time I'm learning. So yeah, this is a lot of the stuff that I've seen over my decades and decades of playing games. And I don't just mean role-playing games. I'm talking, from D&D to Battletech to HeroClix to Highlander to Magic the Gathering to the DC Universe game. Just the mindset between casual and tournament might actually be a better thing to say. Are you easygoing or cutthroat? Now, a lot of people won't admit outright to being cutthroat. And much like a lot of introverts do, it might be best to watch a game or two being played by the player that you're interested in playing with. I know when I give game demonstrations and people want to go cutthroat, I'm like, I think you need to slow down just a bit there until you understand the rules a little better. Sometimes they do. Oh, yeah, they made a Highlander game off of Toggin. It was a card game, and it has a fantastic combat mechanic where you play certain sword attacks. It divides the body into 9 parts, so like a tic-tac-toe board, and the attacker swings at a certain part, the defender defends at a certain part, and everything is blind. So, yeah, I mean, it's actually it's a very good game. Unfortunately, it was based on the Highlander property, and even the show ended. So the card game kind of died after that. But I will say that the tournaments I went through with Highlander players were always the most pleasant. And it is possible to buy play sets for a couple $100s off of eBay. There's always people letting them go. I miss Lord of the Rings from Decipher. I've kind of had that itch. But again, dead games, and that's a show for a different time. But what I have noticed is that casual players, like myself, have a deep love, a very deep love for old dead games that don't have any new rules updates. It's just, this is what it is. Go ahead and play the game. Just play the game the way it was. Now, how do you spot a casual player? Is the next question that gets begged. Well, within the Warhammer community, who's still playing 3rd edition? The cutthroat players and the serious competitive gamers that, again, approach the game like someone who's trying to get drafted by the NHL or the NBA are the ones who are practicing until they throw up, metaphorically. Okay? But the casual gamers tend to be the ones that play the old editions of stuff. One of my close friends runs Pathfinder 1st edition, partly because he has all the books, and partly because he likes the fact that whatever question a player has can be answered if you look through one of the books. Okay? I mean, that's just what it was. And that's a really big one. Now I find that older games tend to have a lot more casual players than more modern games. What do I mean by older games? Or sorry, what do you mean by older games, Solar? I'm talking games like Metal Miniature Battletech. I'm talking games like second or third edition D&D. Alphatagon brings up Traveler as a point. One of my favorite tabletop role playing games um, to play is Paranoia. You got to be an old head to talk about Paranoia, and if you do, then the computer is pleased that you're happy. Um, because those of us who like to play just for the sake of playing, um, can play a variety of games. You're not locked in to whatever it is that you spent your money on. Okay. Um, this is a really, really big thing because, as I said, I've gotten a lot of things. I met a guy out there named Luca, and I was very honored that he invited me into a store on the day of his Dungeons and Dragons night. But I'm here with you guys, so I'm not there looking over their D&D games. But I'll be doing interviews and stuff with all of these stores that I talked to today, and that is going to be pretty awesome. Um, so as I said, um, and he said a casual player is a player that derives a good amount of their fun from the act of playing, not the preparation of playing, and not even the winning, but the act of playing the game. And I'm not saying I agree, disagree, whatever. I will say that, yes, I agree with what he says, but I'm not the authority on the definition of these terms. What I will say is I am going to be referring people back to this episode when I use these terms and folks are confused about what I mean. And again, I throw shade to the tournament culture here in Southern California because there are more bad groups than there are pleasant groups. However, I have no gripe with tournament players as a whole. Again, I myself, and we here at Back in the Deck, totally, totally stand by the fact that gaming and hobbies are for everybody, and there is a niche for everybody as long as you're not a big enthusiast of 1930s Germany. Okay? Um, 1920s Germany, we can talk, but 1930s, no, no, no. Because a lot of folks just like the hobby, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. A lot of other folks like the sports aspect of it, the athletic, head to head, two people putting their wits against each other, and all that. You know what? There are totally places within the place for all of those things. You know, I know personally, I'm not a I'm not a cutthroat competitive person. Never have been. And what I've been told is I'm good enough to actually play competitive in a whole lot of different games. And of course, I like being a teacher. I like being a judge, or more to the point, an arbiter of rules. However, I'm really not a big fan of head-to-head cutthroat competition, dude. You guys know because you've been watching the show, I smoke tobacco. I don't want to be standing for 2.5 hours between turns before I can go have my next cigarette. Um, yeah, okay, so we've got, oh yeah, Red Baron, one of the star sets. Yeah, that's true. That is very true, but you know what I'm talking about, Afatagan. Let's see. We've got Tanya the War Mistress saying, since I went back to playing a sport, it's been easier to flip flop between competitive and casual wargaming. Absolutely. Because I'm going to put this out there, and I want to know if you guys agree with me. But I posit that each different thing that you can do with your hobby, regardless of if it's photography, playing games, making wooden windmills in your garage, they scratch a certain itch inside our consciousness. Okay? They really do. I've been into Halo partly because it's new, and partly because it's based on the mechanics of my favorite skirmish game, which is Dead Zone. Okay? And I like scratching that itch. You know, do I have the Master Chief? No. because the only way you can get it is by buying the paint set, and they're sold out everywhere. um, have I 3D printed a Master Chief? No, not yet, at least. um, but you know, that scratches my itch for tactical military stuff, and it also kind of tickles my fancy for sci-fi. The same as Stargrave. 40K and one page rules, they do tickle my fancy for the grim, dark, hopeless future. Where Star Trek gives me, tickles my fancy for the hopeful sci fi future that I actually want to live in. And there's so many itches and so many things that get soothed by so many aspects of the hobby. I'm not going to lie. I found out yesterday that I'm a pretty good painter. Not in the Golden Demon sense, but in the, hey, your stuff looks really cool. And I don't just use miniature paints. Sometimes I'm with a spray can. Sometimes I got graffiti paint. Sometimes I got car paints. But I'm all about making my figures differentiated from each other and, look cool to go pew pew with my little war dollies on the table. And some people say I can tell you this, with my DC Universe game, you can tell my lanterns apart and you know which one is Superman and which one is Big Barda. With my Crisis Protocol game, you know Spidey. Yeah, here you go. Come on, girl. Come on. Wait, nope. See, look, that's there. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. You were so close. You were so close. Oh, my God. See, she came up, she hit my shins, and now she's just kind of standing there looking at me. Come on. No, wait, this works for cats. Come on, girl. Come on. Here you go. Look, my eyes are open. I'm smiling, you see? And you're yawning. Okay. Am I a dog trainer? No. No, I'm not. And I don't have a piece of ham in my pocket. But yeah. But all these things scratch so many different itches. And I think that in our modern hobby state, because of Western culture, I honestly think that a good amount of us, because of the lives we live in the world we live in, we're looking for a panacea. Come on, girl. Come on up. Coming up. Here, come here. Let me make it easier. Look. Yeah, there you go. You don't want to get picked up. Okay. That's fine. You don't want to get picked up. You'll come up eventually. I don't have anything else to throw, because when I throw, you pick it up and you run away. You don't bring it back. You've got the second half of fetch to still learn. I mean, you're doing good. You're doing good. No, my dog is running on cat hardware or software. That's what she does. But yeah. Oh, are you getting up now? Come on. Come on up. Come on. Here you go. Come on. Come on up. I'm just going to look over here and tap on this. Yeah, come on. Come on up. You're giving me a whole lot of dead air, girl. You really are. Because now my viewers know I'm a real dog owner. Ooh, wait a second. What did you do? What did you do? What did you do? Let me just, oh my God. Hang on. Show. Did you knock out my camera? I think you knocked out my camera. All right, let me just double back on this. Fixing up the camera. Gonna take the thing. All right, yeah. That has been reconnected. Put that over there. Okay. Come here, girl. Come on. Yeah, oh, nope. Come on up. Come on. All right, green screen. Let me just, go here. Okay, deactivate, activate. All right, I'm back. All right, that became a thing. Oh, boy. Gotta love the magic of stuff. Yep, she disconnected my camera while she was running around and being adorable. Oh. That's why my mic was falling so hard. Okay. Now we're here. No, not +1 tail smacking. It was +3 nose rooting. Come on. Come on up. Or don't. Okay. What am I gonna give you to chew on now? Hey, look at this. Hey. Yeah, look at that. Woo! And you're gone. So, hey, Power Commander, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm doing a nighttime stream. So like I was saying, this stuff can scratch itches that a lot of people have. And, you know, I love the community building. I love the hanging out with friends. You know, I like that games are very much a conduit to meeting more people and spending time with them. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a sports type, athletic, or competitive gamer. Not to say you can't make friends at tourneys, because I will say this. In my time of running card tournaments and running War Machine tournaments and just hanging out at places, I'm really upset that I didn't have the money to go to Las Vegas Open this year. I've met some really great people, and I've met some excrement. But I have met people and made friends and, you know, met other people that I never want to be friends with. So they're all there. All right. It looks like Twitch has put me on commercial break. So if you guys, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you know, if you guys aren't on commercial break, freaking awesome. And just keep in mind, keep in mind that, yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Yeah, keep in mind that if you subscribe here on Twitch with the Jeff Bezos money of your Amazon gaming account, you guys get to skip commercials. And it won't cost you a penny. But of course, if you guys want to buy like tier 2, tier 3, different things, I'm not going to say no. You know, I'm trying to make a living here. So yeah, that is a lot of the stuff. So, you know, what is a casual gamer? I define a casual player as someone who's playing for the joy of it. Winning is important, but it's not the only thing. You know, I'm reminded of the quote from Vince Lombardi that's often misquoted. I will start with the misquote, which is, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Where he actually said, winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is. And what that means is play to the best of your ability every time you sit down to play. But it's not the only reason to play the game. All right? A lot of people like to quote sportsmanship and things like that. But I grew up in Western civilization in the 20th century, and I was an adult by the 21st century. And one of the things I noticed was the Little League game type thing that people used to do, which was both the teams would have to line up after the game, and they were forced to walk down the line saying, good game, good game, good game, good game. And what I will say is the YouTube channels that do battle reports that I love watching, and there are two that are at the top of my list. And yeah, they're both 40K, but there are two at the top of my list. Number one is Play on Tabletop out of Canada. Those guys are amazing. I want to buy ice cream for all of them, and I want to one day play against Nick. Because even when those guys are definitely tilted, and you can see that they're going, "Urgh!" they're still fun, and they're smiling, and they're cracking jokes, even though their games are not going great. And second is Tabletop Tactics. You know, and those guys are a blast. What is that? Let's see. I got to play against Nick last time I went. Oh my God, that should be out in a couple of weeks. Sweet. Super sweet, super sweet. I get to see two of my favorite freaking Warhammer people playing against each other. Oh my God. Okay, tell me you played against his Tau, because either you played against his Tau or he played against your orcs, Because if not, that's a lot of Imperial Guard on the table. A lot of Imperial Guard. Um, and honestly, I know. Okay, all right, you played against this Tau. Cool, cool, cool. And I will never be as good as the guys that play on tabletop, nor will I ever be as good as the guys at tabletop tactics. Um, but to watch them play, I describe tabletop tactics because I woke up in the middle of the night with them on my continuously play because I play YouTube when I sleep. Part of PTSD, guys, I can't sleep in silence. But um, I woke up and I heard them playing against each other during ninth edition, and I swear to God, I thought they were the two chipmunks, yeah, they were chipmunks, not squirrels, because they had little tails, from Warner Brothers, who were so incredibly polite while they were tormenting this dog. Just, oh yes, oh, isn't that good? Yes, jolly great. Oh, would you mind handing me that hammer? Oh yes, well, this hammer here, yes. Oh, thank you very much. Blam. Oh, look at the way the stars go across his head. And I heard them talking to each other. And I heard them talking to each other about that, but they were speaking in Warhammer. And quite honestly, I thought that was great. I seriously thought that was great. Um, quite seriously, because I see that no matter how much the game goes on and back and forth, you can see that they were having fun. Regardless, I mean, even when I watch them now, they're like, "Yes, I think I need in force for my invulnerable save," and someone will roll, and they're like, "That's a respectable roll. Yes, respectable. The dream is alive." And I'm going, "This is how I dream of playing." I dream of playing with people who are rooting for me. I dream of playing with people that are smiling. I mean, real talk, guys. Play on tabletop, even though they do everything I talked about being an athlete and stuff. I'll bring up the next part after I get this, but I saw the episode where Nick had a tank and it was remote controlled. And I'm going, oh my God, this is amazing. He actually pulled out a remote control tank and went, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, some of them are competitive and some are not. Oh yeah, notice I'm not talking about Space Marine Steve. you know. I can't quite put my finger on Big Boss Tack, but it's one of those things. So hang on here. Okay. But the last thing, and this is something that I see with a lot of cutthroat players, and this is what my old game group used to do to me when they were saying that they weren't competitive players. And that is something that my best friend coined. I wish I'd come up with this phrase. But he was straight up saying that some folks base their winning on making sure that to win is not enough for them. They have to win by making sure their opponents can't play. And the first thing that came to my head was Magic the Gathering. Some of you guys know where I'm going with this. Some of you guys don't. Let me cook. Now, in my days of cardboard crack, in my days of cardboard crack, I loved playing blue. Okay? Yes, playing blue. I love playing control decks. Okay? However, and this is something that I put out there, which is just because you have a gun doesn't mean you have to shoot someone. Okay? And what do I mean by that? A blue control deck in Magic the Gathering is very much based on the idea of if they play something, you can counter it. If they put a thing on the board, you can take control of it for your turn and all that stuff. It can be a seriously frustrating type of deck to play against. Okay? But Blue is the color, last I checked, and I've been out for like 10 years, that has some of the most infinite combos, i.e., once you do this, your opponent can no longer play because it's always your turn. Or you can have things set up to where your opponent can't do anything. They can't put any new creatures out. They can't tap any land. Like they tap a land to do something. You have an interrupt card that untaps the land and takes away the mana. That kind of thing. So when it comes down to all that, it is easy to win the game by not allowing their opponent to play. In the same way that I would get a new figure, I would put it on the board, and every person I played with would focus fire on the new figure, and I would never be able to play with the new thing that I got and I painted and I did all that stuff. Just like, now I played against a red deck one of my last games, against a friend of mine, and I named this friend's deck Kick Solar in the Taint, because she had a whole lot of fast action instant attack spells that destroyed land from turn 2. So I would play a land, then she would play a land. Then I would play a land, tap my land, and put a creature out. And then she would play a land and tap that land and destroy the creature. Then I would untap and say play a land and put a creature out. And then she would put out a land, tap 2 land, destroy the creature, tap 1 more land, and destroy the land that I just put out. And by turn 3, everything I put down, she would just take off the board to where I couldn't play. I'd put something down, she would destroy it. I put it down, she would destroy it. I went through 3 games and said, okay, I'm never playing that deck again. Because I wasn't able to play. It's kind of like one of the last times I went to a casino, I tried to learn how to play Pai Gow, and I put the money on the table, and the lady took it away. That was the game. Hooray. And a lot of cutthroat competitive players play that way, specifically with players that they think know what they're doing, and the worst ones do that with every player, whether or not they know how to play. And I've had a few very good people who play it that way, and I'm like, dude, I'm not learning anything. They're like, well, why can't you figure out what's going on? I'm like, because everything happens so fast, it's all over and done with. I don't know how to play against what you're doing, because every time I try and do anything, I get ruffle stomped, and then the game is over, and then I don't understand what just happened. And I know one of my old bosses, he was from Vietnam, and this is important, because when I'd say, okay, so how do you always manage to have the cards you need in your hand? And he would say, the feng shui of the deck. And I'm like, I don't understand. What does that mean? He's like, it means the feng shui of the deck. And that would be the end of the conversation. And I'm like, you see why I'm frustrated? I don't know what you mean. What did you just do? I don't know what you just did. Okay, you played this card. Cool. So now I have to keep in mind that you might have that card in your hand. But if you have that card in your hand, I don't know what I can do about it. And I'm literally sitting up, seriously, not knowing what's going on and not knowing how to handle what's going on. So, yeah. So as a casual player, I personally don't even look to learn how to do that. That kind of play is not in my lexicon intentionally. And when I come across it as a casual player, sometimes I pull it out, sometimes I don't. Most of the time, I don't. Because, don't get me wrong. Hey, ooh. Hey girl, come on. Come on. You want to come up? Are we going to play this? Is this the game? Is this the one that you're playing? Huh? Let me just, no, look. Now I'm petting you. Yeah, look at you. Look at you. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. Yeah, meet some of my friends. Hey, Deckers, this is Scraps. Yeah, here you go. All right. Yeah. Oh, come on up, girl. Come on. Oh, no. And you're gone. And you're gone. Oh, don't worry about it. Some people saw you. There you go. You know, but yeah, that's Scraps. You know, she runs around. She's half Chihuahua and half something else. I have no idea. um, but yeah, all right. I'm glad that you were here. I know you miss me. I'll be done. I'll be done here in a bit. All right. So no. You don't get to drink spilled coffee. That's not good for you. All right. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, she is adorable, and everybody loves her little underbite. Ah, yep. Matter of fact, let me just put this up here real quick since we're here and all that stuff. If you guys want to know who I'm talking to, just stay tuned here for half a second while I pull this up. There we go. That's right. Yeah, log in. No, not that one. I want that one. Yeah, go ahead, log in. Come on in. There we go. Look at all that. Yes, I want that. It's a newish computer. Yeah, over my absence, I literally had to rebuild the computer here in the studio. And that, my friends, has been not the greatest. Yes. All right, so let me just, there we go. There we go. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, there we go. We'll just put that there and turn that, oh no, turn that back on, turn that back on, and turn that back on. And here she is, the night that she teleported onto my porch. Quite literally. There we go. Even someone's going, yep, that's your dog now. That right there, that's your dog. And I'm like, yeah, that's my dog. You know, that's who she is. This is after the adoption had actually come through. You know, that's her. So yeah, this is Scraps. I don't know if she chose me as much as she was assigned to me. I'm gonna just be straight up with you on that one. I literally, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she chose me or if she was assigned to me. Because I was literally away from my porch for 2 minutes, walking a friend of mine across the street to give her a hug and to send her on her way. And I turn back around, I go back to my porch, and boom, there she is, shivering. And she's essentially going through teleportation sickness. Yeah, so. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the big Daryl says that's the big thing. People playing fighting games that make them quit. Even the slightest advantage can keep a player down. Yeah, exactly. But remember, just because you have a gun doesn't mean you have to shoot someone. You know, one of the primary lessons in martial arts is learning how to not fight people. You know, because not everything requires maximum force or maximum effort. Most things are just, you know, small confrontations that you don't need to do a whole lot. And so when it comes to playing games, if you think that you're a casual player, okay, ask yourself how much time you spend doing that particular game. And I'm specifically talking about playing, not hobbying, like painting or putting together stuff, not making dioramas, not reading the lore. But how much time do you spend on the game coming up with combinations? I don't care if it's the infinite spell combinations you can do in Dungeons and Dragons. I don't care if it's learning how to use your monk to, you know, catch a ballista, catch a ballista bolt while doing a jumping tornado kick. You know, and how often do you do these things in order to be victorious? because if you're going through all these in order to win, more than you're going through all this stuff as a matter of curiosity or experimentation, then you might not be a casual player. And here's the gig. All right, here's the gig. As I've tried to say over and over and over and over again, there is nothing wrong with being a competitive player. Here at Back in the Deck, we're into self-awareness and communication. But where stuff goes sideways, and I've seen this go sideways hundreds of times, is when some folks believe that they are casual players, and it turns out that not only are they not casual, they're very tournament focused. They're very cutthroat, but they believe that they're casual. And I've found out over the years that a lot of folks believe this because that method, that when at all costs be super cutthroat, okay? When at all costs be super cutthroat, all that stuff is the way that games are played. Because if you're not going to play like that, what's the point of playing? And the truth is, there's 100 reasons to do the stuff. There are figuring out combinations. There are, look at the new cool thing I did, not to keep glazing the War Mistress, but, I watched her stream where she was painting the Keeper of Secrets from Warhammer 40k / Age of Sigmar, because the figure is in both. And I'm like, that looks so cool. I wonder what it does on the tabletop. And if I ever played a Keeper of Secrets, I would probably get raffle stomped, because I haven't looked at the stat card and come up with ways to cancel out that figure's abilities, or to shore myself up against those abilities. I would go in blind and find out exactly what it did. And I'd be like, wow, that thing is powerful. That thing is tough, The first time I actually read the card for Magnus the Red in Warhammer, and I saw the Gears of Magnus, I'm like, oh my god, that looks so overpowered. And then I think I saw Mubin play on tabletop, and I saw that it's not overpowered and not an instant game winner. And I kind of like that. You go in blind every single time. You see, probably because you don't spend your time reading every single codex and looking over every index card and looking over every data sheet, and then crafting or teching your team to go against the very team that you're going to go against. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. And again, I put all this stuff in the athletes thing because I've known 1 or 2 professional athletes in my time. I know that they do practice at like 4 a.m. and they were out, throwing hoops and working on their dribbling and watching game after game after game, learning what the star players on the other teams were doing, so they knew it was a job. It was work, and I'm like, do you ever just go play a pickup game at the park? And they're like, I miss it, man. I miss doing that. I just want to go down to the park and play every once in a while. But no, I got to do it like this. And don't get me wrong, okay? Like I said, I'm not throwing shade on the athletes. I also understand that there comes a point in mastery where A, you're better than you think you are, and B, so many things have become second nature to you at that tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 level, that playing with somebody that's still trying to figure out tier 2, it can be frustrating for a lot of people, I remember my mom's old best friend once told her that not everything is as easy for other people as it is for her, because my mom spent a lot of time by herself studying. And I find I fall into that trap when it comes to playing games that I've been playing for 20 or so years, or when it comes to playing music. This is why I teach so much, so that I always understand what it was like to be a beginner. What it was like to just do the thing for fun. I am that professional sports guy that goes and plays a pickup game, And do I have to dunk on someone and put my crotch in their face? No. Not even if I have the opportunity, you know? Can I make the 3-point shot from half court? Maybe. But is that what I do every time I get the ball? No. No. Just because you have a gun doesn't mean you have to shoot someone. You know? We say here a lot at Back in the Deck, if your opponent isn't having fun, then you're playing incorrectly. And that has an 80% weight on it. It really does. I was able to teach one of the guys that watched our last stream how to play Halo. And I'll tell you this, my dice were so cold, I could have used them in my friend's scotch. Okay, they were so cold. And I'm amused by that because I wasn't playing for money. I was happy that he was having fun playing. And he was like, man, your dice are just mad at you today. I'm like, right? I'm not going to put him in the freezer or anything like that. But yeah, seriously, like, what is going on with my rolls? And we just had a great time with that. And he ended up ordering a couple of units of flat pack realms. And I'm very happy about that. And I'll be delivering them to him on Friday, which is awesome. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, So, quite honestly, what is a casual gamer? In my definition, a casual gamer is someone who loves playing. They still try to win, but they don't pull every trick out of the book, especially when they're playing against people that aren't on the same skill level. We just like playing. We put together wacky teams. I've noticed a lot of cutthroat tournament players say, no, I play what I like to play. And I'm like, do you though? Like, do you? Because, yeah, I'm definitely noticing a lot of ways that you're playing that I don't see that as a model that you would normally buy, or I don't see that as a type of card that you like to play, or that looks shockingly similar to what won the last tournament. I'm just wondering, But a lot of folks say a lot of that stuff because they're afraid of feeling bad. And the whole thing is, sometimes a casual player will put together a list or a deck or a character for reasons other than efficiency, reasons other than optimization. But as we talked about earlier, after a while, optimization does become the standard culture. But I want to thank you guys for being here with me today. Like, seriously, I think I might actually keep this 6 to 8:30 time slot. Because yeah, this has actually been pretty cool. Although it's a bit cold, but I'm not going to complain because I'm in Southern California, and what we consider cold is a little different from other people. What I will say is that it's maybe I don't know. It's maybe 20 degrees Celsius, or what does it say here? 50 degrees Fahrenheit here right now. However, if you use the centigrade scale, it was about 28 degrees earlier, meaning about 85 degrees right before I started the show. So we've dropped 40 degrees and my hands are kind of numb. Let's see. There really are different tiers of competitive players. Those who build to the meta, those who follow. So folks who build, yeah, I know, 28 degrees is hot. I'm in LA. It was about 26 degrees on Christmas Day. Yeah, we only see snow in pictures or up in the mountains where you can go ski. Let's see here. Yeah, so the folks who build are really playing what they want. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, think about that. Just think about that kind of thing and ask yourself, are you a competitive player? Are you a tournament player? Are you cutthroat? Are you casual? Are you wacky? Because knowing what your habits actually are when you're not looking will help you in choosing your opponents and setting the tone for the games that you play. Okay, and that's really, really important because if you understand the tone of the game that you're playing and the people that you're playing with going in, you have a 60% higher chance of finding your own fun. You know, and as we stated in the last show, games are fun, right? So I want to thank you guys for being here. And if you guys want to get a hold of me, you can always reach out at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK at gmail.com. You can join our Discord. Let me see if I can get a Discord invitation going here because I'm really not sure how this thing works. There's so many different social media things, and every single person uses the one they like most. Oh, here we go. So yeah, I'm putting up an invitation to our free Discord. I'm going to be opening up my other Discord behind a paywall because that's just what I'm going to have to do. And of course, if anybody tells you that you're not welcome or you can't like the stuff you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, disabilities, neurospice, or your budget, because if you've ever been to a trailer park, you probably had to go through the hood to get there, and vice versa, you can tell all of them to put those cards back in the deck. Now, we are actually going to raid someone because I haven't done a raid yet, and there's only a few of us, but I'm going to check to see if my mentors are on. Oh, yeah. All right. I don't know what they're talking about over at Double Toasted, but let's raid those guys and say hello. All right, guys? And thank you, guys, and we will see you next time on the dark side of the room. Mm-hmm.